Yesterday, Chris texted me saying, hey, Tucker and I did a podcast together. And they're on the podcast. One of the topics that comes up is why the JFK files hasn't been released. And Chris asks Tucker the question, like, who is holding this up? And Tucker doesn't want to drop the name. He finally drops the name. Rob, if you can play this clip. And this has to do for the community of people that want to know what's going on with Epstein, that want to know what's going on with JFK files. All those promises.
Yep.
That's this clip. Go for it, Rob.
Okay, so I've always thought that. And then in January, there was a scramble over who's going to get what jobs in the new administration. And at one point, there was someone who was being discussed for a job in the intel world, and a member of the SSCI, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Senate Intel Committee, went to the people making the decision and said, you cannot hire this person because this person will be certain to push for the release of the JFK files. So this is a fact. So this is in 2025, less than 2 months ago, and you have a sitting member of the United States Senate whose main goal is to keep those files secret. And then you have to ask yourself, what is that?
Yeah.
Exactly. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Were they even
alive?
alive?
Now, of course, no one was alive. It was 62 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
And by the way, the institution, no one can even tell you who the CIA director was. And do you remember the name of the CIA director? John McCone, I think, 1963. But that person is like completely lost to history, except a specialist. And the CIA has already been through 50 years ago, the Church Committee hearings, 1975, where we sort of know that they were assassinating people, dosing people with acid, all this stuff. It's like the CIA has already been discredited. So if you're telling me that 6 weeks ago, a member of the United States Senate was trying to keep someone out of a job in order to keep these files secret, that is to protect the CIA, I don't believe that for a second.
So wait a minute. Here's the part I don't understand.
So who's that person exerting the pressure?
But you are uniquely qualified to get this answer, because one of us can call the president of the United States right now and ask him. And the other one is me. So why don't you know?
That's a great question. And
it's the only kind I ask.
So what I brought to it was the knowledge that a member of the Senate Intel Committee, I'm not guessing, called over and said, you cannot appoint this person.
So why don't you expose that person, first of all, so we can start chasing after him?
Tom Cotton of Arkansas.
Boom.
Tom Cotton?
Yes, correct.
Wow. And did you ask him?
I haven't. No, I haven't asked him.
What the hell's going on with you?
I'd like to. And
kind of makes people suspicious of you, by the way.
Because
if you know that Tom Cotton said you can't pick this person
that
because
is correct,
and then you didn't go to him and find out why.
Well, I need to sit down with him. I'm not sure that he'll do an interview with me.
With you?
I'm waiting.
You are like the spirit animal of that administration.
No, but it's a fair look. It's a fair question. It's a totally fair question, and the answer is I hadn't thought to do that. And there's a lot going on, and I've
pause right there.
That does, and again, and this is going for all
Tom Cotton, so we know Tom.
Yeah,
Tom Cotton's got some splaining to do. Remember Lucy?
Well, by the way, I've been a fan of Tom Cotton, just like Josh Hawley, like all these guys. They speaking up, they're talking for us. But this is the problem when it comes to people like me that have been supporting this movement for almost over 8.5, almost 9 years. We're going on it. That we were made promises, okay? We were made promises, and this is to. And I know the last podcast we had where Andrew Tate was like, "Yeah, well, this is just what they." But no, it's not about that. This is about Epstein #1, but JFK too. Why is Tom Cotton, if this is true, holding it back? What? Everybody that was involved is dead. Who are you protecting? Because at the end of it, Pat, if you're holding it back, you don't want me, the American taxpayer, to know, as a veteran too, what happened. Who murdered our sitting president? Because 9/11 was one of the worst. I think murdering the sitting president and all the people involved, they're protecting somebody or a group that's still around right now. Same thing with Epstein. And this is the type of crap that pisses me the hell off, because we were made promises. Now we're just sitting. I just posted another tweet today, Pat. We're on day 11 of business days. I'm not counting the weekends because Tom, let me know. Just count the Mondays through Fridays. It's day 11 and counting. We were promised Epstein. We were promised JFK. We were promised 9/11 and nothing. Haven't heard anything. I think Cash arrested 2 people that were doing some nefarious stuff. What is the deal? What's happening? Who are they protecting? That's my question.
Tom.
I'm curious about Tom Cotton running so quick to the microphone, you see 3 hours ago, and he put a very comprehensive tweet out.
Say?
It said, "I did not talk to the president. I did not release the files. I did not involve anybody." It's a fairly long statement he just put out.
This is false. I have no problem releasing the JFK files. Had Tucker Carlson asked me, I would have told him. He has texted me multiple times in recent weeks, so he knows how to reach me. Then why, again, release it? What are you holding back? What do you mean he's not lying?
I would have explained that I've never spoken to President Trump or his associates or administration officials about the files, comma, never objected to the appointment of any person because of the files, comma, and have complete faith that Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and other officials will release the files as appropriate in accordance with President Trump's directive.
And here's my thing, Tom. What he's going to get with all them and an appropriate and accordance. No. What are you holding back? I'm being genuine, Tom. I'm very, very curious right now. It's been how many years? Why?
Well, let me
What are we waiting
let me
for?
just take a complete different angle here. What's Tucker's background? Who was Tucker's father?
Wasn't he CIA? I wanna
Okay,
say?
Tucker's father is has a very interesting background.
Yeah.
He was involved. Whether it's CIA or whatever he did, he was involved.
Is that confirmed?
You can
Richard
search
Warner
a little bit in.
Carlson.
That's
Dick
American
Carlson.
Journal of Lobbyists, Voice of America from 66 to 91. Carl, can you control FCIA? Can you control FCIA to see anything comes up? No, not Patricia. Patricia CIA, Association, Superficial.
His name was Dick
Comercial,
Carlson?
Associate.
Strong name.
Yeah. So there, Voice of America at the time was also known as a, the CIA had a lot of different methods of getting information. Anyways, if there is a way, because right now, is Tucker good with Trump?
At this point, yes.
Okay. If Tucker has to choose between Massey and Trump, who does he choose?
If he's smart, he picks Trump.
If Tucker has to choose between supporting AIPAC that comes with Trump, and if you don't support AIPAC, that you lose Trump, what does he choose?
Wow, that's a good one. I don't
At this
think
point,
he goes
why
to
would you
AIPAC.
want to go against Trump?
But that wasn't the question.
I don't think he's pro AIPAC and pro.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
He had Massey on. It was actually a very good interview that he had
He's going to
Massey
be
on.
very careful with AIPAC.
So here's all I'm doing. Here's all I'm saying with regards to Tucker. Does Trump's administration right now need someone to blame for the way they handled JFK files and Epstein and all that
Yes.
stuff? Is Tom Cotton good with Trump?
I believe so. I wouldn't see any. Nothing that would say other.
Everything we've ever spoken about with Tom Cotton has been positive.
Positive.
Has been good.
Calling out everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if there is something here where the possibility of needing an out with somebody. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you needed somebody to say, hey, we have to figure out a way to put this on someone. We have fumbled, we have kind of mishandled the way we promised that we're going to release, and there's an entire, we had no idea this many people were interested in JFK files. We had no idea this many people were interested in what's going on with Epstein. Oh my God, we thought it was just something you would say from stage, and then people would forget about it after election. Holy shit. No, there's really a big community of people that really want this. I don't know. That's one, okay? And that me seeing that they use Cotton as a person to blame, I'm at 10 to 15% there.
It's an option.
But it's an option, right? And the other option is, could it have been something where the conversation is, say you and I talk, we're about to hire somebody, and you don't like that person, and you say, I don't like that person, and all of a sudden Adam's in the room, Adam tells someone tells another competitor, and they say, let me tell you, the reason why that person didn't end up getting a job at Valuetainment is because of Vinny. Mm-hmm. And it was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Could it have been that kind of a misunderstanding that it was leaked to Tucker? It could have been. Mm-hmm. Because when Chris says, how come you haven't asked him? Tucker was kind of like, well, I don't know, maybe out of talk. And Cotton's coming out talking about it. I don't know. There's many things, many angles here with this one.
Do you think, Pat? Do you think, honestly, in this 4 years, we're going to get anything about JFK and anything about Epstein and anything about 9/11? And I'm not talking about that little stupid thing where they have influencers. Look at my fake stupid.
Let me ask you
We're
this.
gonna get anything.
Let me ask you this. Do you think for RFK Jr., is it important that that information of what happened to his father and his uncle be public, or do you think he would be happy that if just he knew about it and the world never found out?
I think as a relative, especially in that system, he'd want to know private. I would take the private over anything.
Do you think somebody from Trump's camp could sell RFK for saying, you be the one to know the truth, we'll show it to you, but you can't ever tell anybody?
Probably.
You think he'd be okay with that, or you think he would want the world to know what happened there?
I think he's a crusader. I think RFK Jr. feels to me like a true crusader.
Which means what?
I don't think he could be bought like that. It'd
No,
be like,
what I'm saying is, do you think to him it's important that only he finds out for his own reasoning to be resolved, or do you think he wants the world to find out?
I think he wants the
RFK?
world to
Yeah,
find out.
Okay, so if he wants the world to find out, then I think the Kennedy stuff's going to come out because he's got a heavy-duty job position. So that has to come out. The Epstein stuff, I don't know if the Epstein stuff's going to come out the way you're thinking it's going to.
I agree. Well, why is he calling out Tom Cotton? For a very specific reason. Tom is the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. It's a pretty high up position. So I think he enlisted in the Army after 9/11. I think you want to say he's maybe in his early 40s. He's a pretty stoic, straightforward guy if you've ever heard him speak.
This is the first time I've heard anything bad about Cotton.
Yeah, he's not sort of like bombastic and out there like a Josh Hawley,
Or
and they're
Mark
similar age.
And I like Hawley.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love him. My
So
favorite.
Tom Cotton, very stoic. By the way, he does interviews on Meet the Press on MSNBC all the time, pushing back against Kristen Welker. He'll get out there. So I'm going to take Tom Cotton at his word that he actually has been communicating with Tucker. Tucker knows how to stir the pot a little bit. I've never heard Tom Cotton's name in relation to these types of things, whether it's 9/11, whether it's the Epstein, whether it's RFK, whether it's JFK, whatever it is. What I know about Tom Cotton, he's been a staunch advocate for Trump, super hawkish on China. I think he wrote a book called 7 Things You Can't Say About China, something to that effect. He's all about banning TikTok. He wants China out of our policies. Very hawkish on the border. Very hawkish on foreign policy. Tom Cotton. Exactly. So this is the first time I'm hearing that there's anything contingent on this. But why is Tucker calling him out? Because Tom Cotton is the head of the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's why.
And Tucker's fed up, dude. I mean, I'm with Tucker though, because I don't think Tucker just made this out
Vinny
of thin
hasn't
air.
slept in weeks,
Yeah, no,
guys.
but what I'm saying is, I don't think Tucker made that out of. Tucker's like, listen, this is a fact. I'm speaking with the person that was supposed to get the job to give us what we want, but he's been held back because of Tom Cotton. That's why it's such a weird thing, because it's like you don't just make that up. These are, I think, facts that Tucker knows, that Chris pushed him, and I'm happy Chris did it. And that's why he was like, well, if you know this and you know this, and he went, Tom Cotton of Arkansas.
Well,
boom.
Consider
right
this.
in your face.
You know how they're rewriting maybe the definition of recession? Maybe they're rewriting the definition of day one. Maybe day one
It's going to be day 500.
is day 100.
National Book Month, and here's what we're doing for this month for March. It's funny, I had a couple book recommendations for my son I gave. Vinny, you're reading a book that's pretty insane on the way down here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's, for those of you guys that are big readers, if you haven't yet read Choose Your Enemies Wisely, The Academy, or Your Next 5 Moves, if you're a parent, you want your kids to be thinking so they can think for themselves, so the educational system can't brainwash them, go to The Academy for them. Both my boys have read that book, 11, 12. I think anything above 11 is good for that book. But if you order any of these books this month, we're sending you custom bookmarks. Rob, can you show some of the custom bookmarks? That's the Valuetainment one. We have a couple other ones.
Nice.
We have the Academy one. We have the Valuetainment one. We have the What's Your Next Moves. Anybody that orders a book, we send you 3 bookmarks with any of the books. Go to vtmerch.com. All the books are signed. You can pick up any one of them you want at vtmerch.com. Get reading, folks. Get reading so you cannot be brainwashed by the people that are trying to do it to you, whether it's the mainstream media, whether it's teachers to your kids. Get yourself on the kids reading so you can be liberated. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.